welcome you here today to talk about shut down the ports. We're standing in front of the World Trade Center, as you can see, partly because EGT, a multinational grain conglomerate, has offices here in this building, and also they have offices and business down at the ports. They've been involved in a labor dispute in Longview with the longshore workers, and also with dubious labor practices here in Portland. So they're partly something that we're targeting. I just want to talk for another minute about just the facts, just the logistics of what's going to happen on December 12th. So we have a day of action to share, as well as insights from the workers, the veterans, and organizers that I've just introduced about the significance of shutting down Wall Street on the waterfront. On Monday, December 12th, the community of Portland will gather at 6 a.m. at Turley Point Park in North Portland to rally and then march to the port terminals that we will be picketing. The community picket will block gate access to the port terminals with banners and moving pickets. The picket will include food, music, coffee, drums, sort of a celebration also. We expect that workers and trucks will arrive and they will see the community picket blocking the gate. An arbitrator will be called, and we fully expect that the workers and the truck drivers will respect the community picket as they have many times in the past. The port workers have a long and proud history of doing so. The community picket will remain up that day so long as is needed to shut down work for the entire day of Monday the 12th. That's just the facts and logistics. And next I want to introduce more of our other speakers today to talk about why. And first, let's hear from Becca Lewis. She's a rank and file.
Hi, I'm Becca Lewis. That's BECCALEWIS. And I'm a rank and file union member. Occupy Portland is a big tent that represents all of the 99%. And I think it's important to remember that while unions are part of the Occupy movement, we also represent the 89% of workers that don't have a union, and the millions that are un- and underemployed, as well as students and retirees. We represent the whole 99%. Shut down the port is an action of the Occupy movement, not only here in Portland, but in the 23 other cities that have signed on to participate in this call to action, including Anchorage, Vancouver, BC, Seattle, Tacoma, Longview, Oakland, LA, and San Diego. This action will bring together all workers from the 99%, organized and unorganized alike, those from the ports, those from the trades, and those workers who don't have union representation. Workers face stagnant wages, and the corporations in power are consistently funding legislation like we saw in Wisconsin that attacks our right to organize unions, and legislation like SB 1070 in Arizona that works to put immigrant workers in prison. We also face legal restrictions on our rights to organize in our unions effectively. Shut down the ports, community picket shows that workers will not be divided. We are united. We recognize that the 1% has an unacceptable level of wealth and power, and workers will organize together to change our broken system.
Okay, next we have Jordan McIntyre. He's a rank and file building trades union member.
Hi, my name's Jordan McIntyre. That's JORDANMCYRE, and I'm a rank and file building trade union member. Occupy Portland has banded together with other West Coast occupations to target Wall Street on the waterfront. There are two cases in particular that highlight the control that Wall Street has of our public waterfronts. One of them is EGT. EGT Development is refusing to honor ILWU contract in Longview, Washington. We stand in solidarity with the ILWU in their struggle against this union buster. Our action is independent of the ILWU. However, we've been inspired by the longshore workers' direct actions against EGT, and we are very unhappy by the repression they are facing by the cops and the courts, which is similar to the repression we have been facing. We know that if the 1% plus the ILWU, they will try to drive down all of our wages. Another case is the SSA. Goldman Sachs controls a majority share of the SSA, the Stevedore Services of America, a major player at the Port of Portland. The SSA is also repressing immigrant port truckers who are trying to organize their workplaces in the Port of LA, which is why Occupy LA put out the call for solidarity picket lines up and down the West Coast. Port truckers in Seattle are also facing low pay, discrimination, and unpaid time wasted at entry gates. And we are in solidarity with them. Pickets, strikes, and actions are not an uncommon part of workers' struggles. Many of the things we take for granted were fought through hard battles and won by collective action, whether that's the 8-hour workday, paternity leave, sick days, or simply safe working conditions. But the port shutdown is modeled on the kind of community action that targets egregious corporate interests and demands fundamental change beyond the workplace. Pickets at the ports have been used to fight apartheid, to demand an end to wars, to block ships carrying sweatshop cargo, and to take important political stands. Our community picket on December 12th marks a turning point in the Occupy movement, where we say enough to Wall Street corporations using our public infrastructure to amass immense wealth and power. We march on the ports to demand that Wall Street be held accountable for bad business practices and remind us that worker struggles, pickets, strikes are what enable the gains that we enjoy today.
Next is Dustin Cox. He's an Iraq War veteran.
Hello, Dustin Cox, DUS, TIN, HAWPS, USA veteran. Veterans are the working class. When they come home, jobs need to be available, good living wage jobs. Veterans for Peace recognizes the important role of organized labor in making this possible and recognizes workers' rights are human rights. We support the statement put out by Scott Olson, veteran from Oakland, that veterans respect labor and expect all workers to respect our community.
Next is Nina Ryerson. She's a non-unionized worker here in Portland.
Hi, that's Nina, M-I-N-A, Ryerson, R-E-I-E-R-S-O. The ports are an example of the broken system. The message of our community picket is that working people will shut down the production and distribution of the 1% because this production and distribution unfairly benefits the 1%. As a member of this community, I face attacks on my right to organize a union. I face deep cuts to critical public programs. I lack health care, and even our homes are under attack. The inequality of wealth and power in this country has allowed the basic needs of our community to go unfunded while the 1% profits from our suffering. While the ports represent the production and distribution that creates wealth for the 1%, they are also symbolic. The ports are a symbol of how the 99% goes to work every day and yet struggle to make ends meet. We will shut down work on December 12th to show that the workers are the engines of our economy, and we are